Okay, good morning and welcome to our weekly PUPS webinar. I'm Brianne from the Willits Customer Success Team, and also on the call are Erin Newton and Miranda Forbes. And today we're continuing with our series on foundational PUPS basics. So this is another great one for new staff or those who need a refresher. Before we get started with today's topic, I wanted to point out, as I've been each week, just to make sure and point out that we are demoing on the most recent version of PUPS today, which we call PUPS 2.0. So again, if there are items or features that don't look familiar to you, it may be because of the version of PUPS you're using. And if you have any questions about that, or if you're interested in learning more about PUPS 2.0, please feel free to let us know and we can meet with you separately. If you have any questions during the presentation, you can enter them into the Q&A at the bottom of the screen and one of our team members can provide the answer. With that, let's get started. Our topic for today is general navigation. So every PUPS user has at least some level of familiarity with how to navigate PUPS. And if you've been using PUPS for a while, you likely have areas of PUPS that you use regularly, and maybe you've noticed some sections that you're curious about. Our goal for today is to provide an overview of the PUPS dashboard and navigation menu. And in the course of looking at these items, we'll also hopefully find some hidden gems and some lesser known features that might spark some interest and curiosity on your part. And then we'd love to be able to chat with you about those things at the end. First, let's take a look at the dashboard. Every PUPS user, upon login, will be taken to the dashboard here, as you see on my screen. Currently, the dashboard includes a number of static widgets that are visible to all PUPS users, as well as some sections that are only turned on if requested. So just taking a brief look through these static widgets here at the top, we've added a widget for our webinar series. So this way you can draw your team's attention to this box where they can see the information about the webinar, and also they can click the link to register if they're interested in joining the webinar series. Also on the dashboard, we have little widgets for the weather and birthdays at your location. This is a fun way to keep in touch with coworkers. If a coworker is having a birthday, you can click on their name and send them a message, and they'll actually get a message in their bell notification in PUPS. So that's just a little fun way for team building. Another feature of the PUPS dashboard is the PUPS certified users. Now, this is sort of an ongoing project, and your location may not have certified users listed yet. But what this allows is for your facilities to identify those users who are super users of PUPS. Those that have been using it for a while, they're well-versed in how to use the system, and they've been identified as certified users. If you have those, they will be listed here with their pictures and their email address so that you know who you can reach out to if you have any questions from your local team, someone who knows your systems and knows your processes. There's also a messages box, and this is a great way for your facilities to communicate with one another by adding messages here. These messages can be tailored to specific things going on at your facility, announcements that you need all your staff to know, something fun, like here we have a Happy Valentine's Day message, things like that. This messages box is a great way to communicate those things to all staff that log into PUPS. There is a special permission to those that are able to add and edit that message. So if that's something you're interested in, let us know. Down below, we have a couple of other features that you may or may not see on your PUPS dashboard, depending on what your facility uses. But if these are interesting to you, these are a fairly new feature, and we'd love to hear from you if this is something you would like to implement. We have shout-outs and Employee of the Month. Shout-outs is a place where all employees can click this little edit button and add a message to share a shout-out for a coworker, something that you've noticed among your team members that you want to bring attention to, something really great that's going on at your facility. The shout-outs is a great place to add that. and next to that being Employee of the Month. This is going to be managed by a few key players at your location where they can add a picture and a biography of the person who has been chosen Employee of the Month at your location. This is another great way for team building so that you can see pictures and hear information about teammates that are doing a great job and wish them well. Below that is a calendar of events. Now again, because we're on the dashboard, this is visible to all staff who log into PUPS. So this is not the place for your own personal appointments or for things that are related specifically to a client necessarily, but to things you want to draw staff attention to when they log into PUPS. In this case, in our little example, there's a 10 a.m. staff meeting that we want to put on that calendar so that everyone that logs in is going to see that. And this is available for you to add, edit, and to make your own. Now down below that are some features that you may or may not see on your screen because they're driven by a special permission that is turned on by location. So we can turn on some features like listing clients with suicide risks that are being noticed in assessments, recently admitted and recently discharged clients, medication notifications. If your site uses DoseSpot for e-prescribing, we can pull in information about updates, new medications, and things like that to display on the dashboard. And then we have form notifications. This is probably a lesser known and lesser used feature, but we do have the ability, and we could work with your teams to understand exactly what your needs are, but we can set some forms to display on the dashboard here. If there's a particular type of form that needs attention, again, this is on the dashboard, so everyone who logs in will see it, but something that draws attention to new forms that need attention, in this case, something that's out for signatures. So these are just some of the widgets that are available on the dashboard that can be turned on or off depending on your location. And again, we would work with your teams to understand exactly how to make these work for you. So if that's something you're interested in, maybe take notes of some of these things if you're seeing something that looks interesting to you. And again, these things at the top are going to be static that everyone is going to see, but your team has some control over, for instance, what message displays here or what events go on that calendar so that you can make sure that everyone logging into PUPS from your facility is seeing the information that you need them to see at a glance. And now moving on from the dashboard, I want to take a look at the left-hand navigation menu over here. Now, everyone is familiar with this menu because this is how you get to the links that take you where you need to go to enter new information into client records. And they're sorted into clearly labeled and intuitive categories. Now, my view here is an admin view, so I may see things that you don't see. So as we go through and look at some of these things, if there's anything that sparks some curiosity or some questions, make a note of that and we can talk about that. It may be driven by permissions, or it may be a feature that is not used at every facility, but might be something you're interested in. So just keep that in mind, that we can work with you to build PUPS to include the features, the topics, the sections that really work for you. The various options that you see over here, again, as I said, may be driven by permission or by security level. For instance, referrals and admissions is a specific section that is open to staff whose role it is to enter referrals and admit new clients. And if you don't see those options, maybe you're not in that job role, so that would be the reason why. Additionally, things like billing or the daily log, morning management, these are some things that are turned on by specific permission for a specific location. The daily log is a new feature, as is morning management, and that's something that will be talked about in a lot more detail in future webinars, so stay tuned for that. Most everyone is familiar with the client menu because this is where you go to enter demographics, where you can search for clients and enter forms and documentation. But I also wanted to point out a few little things in this menu that may be features you weren't aware of, or might be little tips and tricks that are useful for you. Client Calendar is another fairly new feature that is being piloted and used at some facilities now, and could be a really great tool for scheduling out client-specific daily events. We will have future webinars on that as well. Under the Management menu, if you click on that to see the submenus, you may be familiar with Client Contacts, which is where you enter your client's contact information, including Guardian, things like that. If you use the portal, you'll know about secure messaging. And if you use Care Teams, you'll know that this is where you enter that information. But you may not be aware, this is also where you can view an uploads dashboard. So as you may know, if you use uploads in PUPS, there are various areas where those can be added. There's uploads under the health menu, the client menu, the admissions menu, etc. So if you are responsible for adding uploads or downloading uploads later, like if you need to go back and look at consent forms or things like that, a really quick way to do that is to come to the uploads that's under the Management menu. And this is where you will see a dashboard of all of the different uploads that a client might have. Let's change it to our client, Kevin, and see what he has in here. So this is where you'll see all the uploads. As I said, you can sort it by the different types. If you're specifically looking for medical uploads or client uploads, lab results, things like that, you'll get a filter here to do that. This is sort of a one-stop shop for uploads. So hopefully that's a little hidden gem if you weren't aware that there is an uploads dashboard that compiles it all into one place. Another feature of the navigation menu that I wanted to draw attention to specifically is My Documentation. This is, again, similar to the uploads dashboard. This is your own personal dashboard of forms and notifications that apply to you. If you are a QA reviewer or a supervisor approver, you'll also have the option to view those reports here so that you can, if your notifications are getting bogged down, if it's hard to keep track of the forms that require your approval, you can go to the QA review or provider supervisor approver section and you can see those all in one place. For your basic user who's not an approver, you can go to the My Forms section. And here you can see for your login, the forms that you've created with the most recent at the top. So this is a way to see all those forms in one place with all of the action items over here on the left available to you. So if you have forms that are incomplete, you can use the edit button, navigate to the form. It'll update your active client and you can complete the form there. If you have forms that require a signature, you can see the e-signature pencil from here, etc. So this is a good way that you can see all your forms that you've created. And here you can notice this is for multiple different clients. Each time you click on one to view it or to edit it, it will update your active client and take you into that client record. But this is a good way to see those at a glance. A few other things over here on the menu. Again, a lot of these are have a lot of information that's too much maybe for our general overview, but I wanted to point them out and then also let you know anything that we have upcoming for webinars. And if you see anything here that you think, yeah, we use that, but I'm not really familiar with it, or that's something I would like more information about, please let us know because we're always looking for more webinar topics as well. We will do a more in-depth webinar on e-prescribing and the health menu. The health menu is a really rich submenu of information that you can add to the client's record related to their health. And this is also where the medication administration is logged, as well as appointments and orders. So we'll go into depth on that menu at a later date. The reports menu is another sort of hidden gem. I know there's a lot of job roles that require quite a lot of reporting, and so there's a lot of folks that may be in here regularly. But if you're not, I wanted to point it out because the reports menu contains different categories of information that gets entered into PUPS, and all of those data points are available in various ways to be reported on. For instance, under the Forms and Documentation submenu, we have all of these different kinds of reports that are pulling data from client forms, such as active treatment plans, billable services, if there's any client forms that are missing signatures, the basic client forms report, which can just show you for a date range different forms that are done. So some people may not know that there are some reports available. If you're not seeing what you need in one place, if you're looking at client forms, but you need to see, back at an earlier date, or you need to see multiple clients in one view, the report menu is the way to do that. One other report that I think most everyone has access to, but again, anything you see here that you don't see in your own PUPS, just let us know. Under the client submenu of reports, there is an option, if I scroll down, there is an option for a report builder. This is a really great tool, and we can do a webinar on this in the future as well, but this is a really great tool to build your own report. If you need to get a quick glance of some data for clients, for information that's been entered into their records, you can use this report builder feature to do that. And anytime, if you reach out to our team asking about how can I get information about these few points of data in the system, we might direct you to the report builder or help you work with you to build a report that'll show you that. So that's a really great tool as well. And the last thing that I wanted to point out from this menu, as you can see, navigating the menu is pretty intuitive, right? You click an option. Anything that has this little arrow means there's a sub-menu underneath that, and you click it and it expands that menu. Again, we'll collapse it. But if you are looking for something and you can't remember which sub-menu to find it in, we do have a handy menu search feature here at the top. So after today, if you wanted to go check out that report builder that I just showed, but you can't remember where to get it, you can come into the menu search and just type it in here, and it'll show you the reports, all the different reports that we've done. It'll show you the report builder if we type in report builder. So this menu search is a great way to quickly get to an area that maybe you don't use frequently and you can't remember which heading it's under. So we like to point out the menu search to people to empower you to get in that navigation, find what you're looking for, take a look at new things that maybe you didn't see before, and let us know if anything in there looks interesting to you. So that covers PUPS general navigation. I really did do just sort of a flyover of the menu and the dashboard, but please feel free to put any questions that you might have into the Q&A. I see a question. Can we get a copy of this after the training? Yes, Peggy, absolutely. Every webinar is recorded, and we do place them up into PUPS Learn after the webinars, and we can also email them out to you. We can do a follow-up email to everyone that attended. Yes, that's a great question. Thank you. If you do use PUPS 2.0, like I said, which we're looking at today, we do encourage you to check out these various dashboard and navigation menu options. See if there's anything that you saw today that that you don't see in yours, and it might be a feature that you think your team might benefit from. We would love the opportunity to work with you to utilize more of the PUPS system. So please let us know if you'd like to start a conversation about that. All right. Okay, we have a question. Great question. The certified PUPS user. So let me go back to the dashboard using this dashboard homepage button here. Certified users. So this is a program that we have for a way to identify users at each facility who meet certain qualifications to become PUPS certified users. So this is sort of a a growing process that we have. So your facility may not have them identified, but we would love to work with you to identify who those folks are. So the goal of the certified users is to identify those users who are well-versed in PUPs. Maybe they are familiar with all the different features of the system that are used at that facility, and they're sort of a first line for questions. So if new employees or even seasoned employees have a question or they're running into an issue, obviously our team, the PUP support team, is always happy to answer those questions, but you can also go to your certified users and you would see their name and email address here and ask them if it's a quick question, hey, can you remind me how to get here? Or which form do I have to do in this scenario? Things like that. So this is a program that we're really hoping to launch and get off the ground at as many of our facilities with our customers as we can. So we would love to work with you to identify who those individuals are. Great question. And on the note about support, I also wanted to point out a few things on the dashboard and the navigation menu. So we do have various ways that you can reach out directly to the PUP support team, which again is myself and my teammates who are on the call, Erin and Miranda, and we have Amy and a few other individuals whose names may be familiar. And if you need support from our team, you can reach us in a few different ways. This little bubble here on your screen will pull up the contact support page where it'll give you the phone number you can call, the email address you can send a message to, and then also the ability to chat with us online. You can get to the chat here on that page and also at the bottom of your navigation menu where it says Contact PUP Support. And what that does is it pulls up a little chat window, and a member of our team who's online at that time will then be able to jump right in and answer your chat. So it's a really quick way if you just need to fire off a quick question and you don't want to go through the process of calling into our line or sending us the email. And we're always willing and available to help with those questions. Great. If there are any other questions, feel free to pop them into the Q&A. Our team can hang on here for a bit if you'd like to discuss in more detail anything we covered today or any other PUPs topic. While you have us here, we can talk about anything related to PUPs. Otherwise, that was our webinar for today, and you're free to go. Hopefully, we'll see you on our next webinar. Next Wednesday, we'll be discussing forms and documentation. So please pass that along to your staff. Again, they can register right here on the dashboard by clicking the Register Now link or from the emails that do get sent out. So thank you all again for attending and have a wonderful day. Okay, Peggy. So Peggy's asking, what reports are we able to develop? So great question. So I'll draw attention over here to the reports menu. And again, anything that's under here, as I'm looking at it as an admin, but if there's a report you see on here that's interesting to you, but you don't have it on your account, maybe it's because of a permission or something like that. So we would just, want to work with you to figure out exactly what reports you need access to. But when you click on this reports menu, you have all of these different categories of types of reports. Like if you want to report based on forms and documentation, if you want to report based on client information, things like that. As you can see, there's a lot of different options here. So some of these are, these built-in reports are going to just have specific parameters, and they're going to pull in information that you might need. For instance, a client forms report is where you could go to see reports of the forms at your facility. So like for the month of February, how many progress notes were entered, by this person or for this client, things like that. I'll collapse that and go to the client submenu. This is where we saw the report builder. So this is the tool that I was mentioning a little bit about, where if you don't see exactly what you're looking for in one of the pre-built reports, you can try this report builder, which will allow you to pull certain pieces of data from the client record and put them into an Excel report. And all of these blue boxes are the different data points that you could potentially use in your report. And what you do is you would drag over on the blue thing, drag it over to the right, and that will add that data point to your report. And you can drag over as many different data points as you need over here to the right. And when you have everything you want to see in a report, you would click Build Report, and it'll generate an Excel sheet. There are some little things and little tips and tricks on how to make the report work best for you. For instance, anytime you see this little tornado here, this little funnel, that means this data point has a filter attached to it. So we can filter for, in our case, if we want to say, we need a report of clients with an admission date between February 1st and February 14th. We could do something like that. That'll narrow down our report to a specific date range, for instance. So we can use filters to really make sure we get the data we're looking for. And there's a lot you can do with this report. Obviously, there's a lot of different data points on here. So if that's something that you're interested in, or if there's specific data you're looking for, Peggy or anybody else, we would love to work directly with you and help you build a report like that, or use one of our presets to get you that information. Great. Thank you for asking about reports. We love to show people sort of the power that they have in PUPS to get data out of the system. So great question. Thanks again for joining, and everyone have a wonderful day.